on, vinyl community? Welcome to another video with the Record Spinner. In today's video, I'm going to be ranking the 1978 Kiss solo albums. Some time ago, I did a video where I ranked the Kiss studio catalog, and if you want to peel back and check out that video, I suggest you go ahead and do so. But when doing that video, I had excluded the solo albums from my ranking, mainly because while they are technically part of the catalog, they do kind of stand out on their own realm, and it would have been a bit tricky to rank individual efforts mixed in with band efforts, so I held off, and I got to thinking that I never quite fully addressed how I would rank these solo albums, so I figured this would be a perfect opportunity to do so. Now, the case of the 1978 Kiss solo albums is an interesting one, because from a far distance, you would think that each member would do material similar in the vein to how they would be represented within the context of Kiss, but that is not the case whatsoever. These albums were truly artistic statements with the versatility of their influences, and they had no issue displaying that. Now, some may think that my ranking is a bit predictable, and I'm sure others may agree, but I will go on record saying that this ranking is solely my personal opinion. It is neither right or wrong. So enough of the chit-chat, let's jump into what this video is all about. There are 4 Kiss 1978 solo albums, and coming in at number 4 at the bottom of the barrel is this one. Kinda predictable, but it is Peter Criss's album. On this album, Peter showcases his jazz, soul, and R&B roots, and the fact that his style is completely aggro to the hard rock style that Kiss was doing, that's the root as to why I would rank this album the lowest out of the 4. Now, most of the material on this album dates back to Peter's pre-Kiss band Lips. Tracks such as I Am Gonna Love You, Don't You Let Me Down, interestingly titled That's the Kind of Sugar Papa Likes, and Hooked on Rock and Roll are from that band. He also does a cover of Tossin' and Turnin' by Bobby Lewis, which Kiss did perform during the Dynasty tour. And then you have some tracks where he's like trying to recreate Beth with things such as Easy Thing and I Can't Stop the Rain, and instead it just comes across as sort of cheesy 70s easy listening ballads. Now, Peter's track record within Kiss was relatively decent, with scoring a hit with Beth and keeping them on the radio front with Hard Luck Woman, and I suppose Casablanca thought that they could squeeze a hit out of this album, and when the first single didn't chart, they pushed a second out, and it didn't do anything once again. Peter's album is okay for what it is, but out of the 4, it is certainly the weakest. Coming in at number 3 is this album. It is the Gene Simmons album. Now, Gene's album has plenty of versatility, with nods to Jerry Lee Lewis in the opener Radioactive, which was performed by Kiss on the Dynasty tour, his love for the Beatles, and his Lennon-McCartney songwriting stylings with See You Tonight and Always Near You, Nowhere to Hide, the usual innuendos of Tunnel of Love and Living in Sin, and some more introspective moments where he delves into his demon character with Man of a Thousand Faces and Mr. Make-Believe. He even has a stab at re-recording the Kiss track See You in Your Dreams, since the original version wasn't to his liking. And then you get to When You Wish Upon a Star, which is from the Pinocchio film, which has a soft spot in Gene's heart from childhood, but with its lush orchestrations, it is so undemon-like. Gene did also have an interesting cast of characters play on this album, such as Joe Perry of Aerosmith, Bob Seger, Rick Nielsen of Cheap Trick, Donna Summer, amongst many others. If you look back on the material that Gene wrote that didn't fit within the Kiss mold, you can tell how his tastes tended to be more melodic, which I can certainly appreciate a lot, but just like Peter's album, it's very un-Kiss-like. Coming in at number 2 is this one. It is Paul Stanley's album, and he is flaunting his star child persona all over this record, with moments of rock and roll melodrama with Tonight You Belong to Me and Take Me Away Together as One, some brilliant power pop with Move On, which was performed by Kiss on the Dynasty tour, and Wouldn't You Like to Know Me, and some hard rocking swagger with It's Alright and Love in Chains. Paul certainly wears his heart on his sleeve all over this album, and even to the extent of a song like Hold Me, Touch Me, which shows his immense sensitive side. Personally, I think it's a little sappy for my liking, best leave the ballads for Peter to sing. Interestingly enough, with Paul's record is that he started recording demos at Electric Lady with the intention of redoing them in Los Angeles, and they didn't come out right, so the demos just ended up being polished, and perhaps that's why this comes across as the most Kiss-like sounding album out of the four, with its raw and spontaneous charm, and it's also the only full original solo album since the other albums do have covers. It's a phenomenal listen with enough contrast in all the songs to keep you interested and locked in. And coming in at the number 1 spot is this one, and honestly, did you guys see this coming? It is Ace Frehley's album. I'll save my acclaim for the end, but it starts with the roaring in-your-face opener, Rip It Out, then it goes into the swaggering shuffle of Speeding Back to My Baby, and then you have tracks such as Snowblind, I'm in Need of Love, and Wiped Out that establish these cool grooves and motifs that when it comes to the choruses or soloed, the song just completely shifts. Ozone has this great low and slow jam vibe to it. What's on Your Mind is a great heavy slice of power pop, and then Fractured Mirror can be best described as an orchestral guitar piece with so many parts cascading and adding more depth to the piece. And then there's his cover of Hello's New York Groove, which out of the singles released from the solo albums, it charted the highest and it survived in the set list just before Ace had left the band. Now what's crazy to think is that some of these songs were supposedly held back from as far back as Rock and Roll Over, so to imagine if one of those songs appeared on there would have been absolutely insane. And stylistically, Ace very much takes the classic Kiss sound and just makes it a tad bit heavier with crunching riffs and tons of attitude. This album out of the four sold the most, and that's understandably so and justifiable because this album simply smokes. So there you guys go. That is my ranking of the 1978 Kiss solo albums. Here is my question for you guys. How would you guys rank these 4 solo albums? Please drop a comment down below. I'd love to know. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead, give it a like, and subscribe to the channel. See you guys in the next video, and most importantly, keep the records spinning.